President Trump said that the 145% tariff on China will not stay that high. The stock market was up 400 points today, and Trump acknowledged that the 145% tax on Chinese imports, quote, is very high and won't be anywhere near that high, close quote, when negotiations are concluded. He says it will come down substantially, but it won't be zero. Now, these comments came after Bessette reportedly told investors in a closed-door meeting the trade war against China is unsustainable. He added that he is hopeful that the tension between China and the United States will be eased in the coming months, and the two countries will seek out a deal. Again, Trump talked about a 145% tariff on China, which includes a 20% tariff that Trump placed on China back in February, citing China's role in fentanyl trafficking. China is hit back at the United States with a 125% tariff on U.S. goods. The White House press secretary said 18 countries have now submitted trade proposals to the president with meetings that involve 34 more countries. China, of course, has warned that it will punish countries that agree to trade deals with the United States. Again, we're going to be speaking with Stephen Moore in just a few minutes. Here's what he said, number 24.
Well, you know, you guys started this conversation, Brianna, talking about this being a Trump retreat. I don't think I would use that word. I think this was kind of a strategic advance where Trump is being realistic about, you know, what's happened with the markets over the last few weeks. And also, I'm hearing from my friends over there in the White House who are working on this issue every hour that they are making some advances with China. And that's good news for everybody, because you're quite right that what the outcome here we all want to see is that China is more cooperative. They have incredibly aggressive and policies on trade that are, I would describe as being unfair to Americans. And so if those deals continue to be made, I think you'll continue to see the stock market rise the way it has in the last couple of days. There's still a lot of ground to be made up based on the losses we've seen in the last month or so.
Why would you say China's being more cooperative?
Because they're talking about lowering some of their tariffs, reducing some of their very aggressive non-tariff trade barriers that make it very difficult for Americans to sell our farm products, our manufacturing products and so on, and even our technology products to the Chinese. And so, look, this is based on, there's no deal yet. I want to be clear on that. But,
yeah, so
but
when you say they're talking about that,
okay,
so you're saying in formal discussions with the White House? I mean, how are you characterizing this?
No, not formal discussions, but phone calls. I don't think we describe those as being formal, but basically Trump and his economics team saying you're going to have to make concessions in these areas, and China has apparently really softened their position, their opposition to that. Look, remember, China's stock market has been crushed, and their economy is in a lot of trouble too. So it's in the interest of both countries to come to an agreement that creates a more level playing field.
I always find it interesting when someone like Stephen Moore goes on CNN, and that's where that clip was from. Did CNN show this kind of concern about the economy? We were talking about 9% inflation that was transitory. Moore also said he doesn't think that anybody really thought that China would suffer a 145% tariff. Number 25.
Yes.
I don't want to have a semantic debate with you about this idea of a turnaround, but whatever you do, whether you know, it's described as a turnaround or as you call it, a strategic advance, is it recognition that they weren't getting anywhere with playing rhetorical hardball the way they were and having that 145% tariff that we heard the Treasury Secretary say this is essentially stopping all trade? This is basically essentially a trade embargo. Is it a recognition of that not working?
Well, Brianna, I think you're missing the main point, that Trump is an incredibly strategic negotiator. I mean, he's the best there is. And his opening bid was 145%. Now, I don't think anybody ever really thought we were going to impose 145% tariffs, although the Chinese were certainly terrified of that prospect. And I think what that opening bid did was force the Chinese to start softening their position, and eventually they will come to, I feel very confident they will come to the negotiating table, and the U.S. will come out ahead in those negotiations because the situation is so unlevel right now. But look, there's also tariffs on all these other countries that need to be resolved too. So this isn't just about China. It's about getting deals from the Europeans, from Mexico, Canada, Japan. And what I'm here to tell you is it appears that there is progress on all of those fronts.
Yeah, China's the big one, obviously, and that was the one that stood beyond the 10%,
yes,
which is why a lot of focus on it.
And here's exactly what Donald Trump said about a possible deal with China, number 28.
Clarify, Mr. President, on China. Are you thinking about lowering their tariffs?
Fair deal with China. It's going to be fair.
Are you talking to them actively now?
Actively. Everything's active. Everybody wants to be a part of what we're doing. They know that they can't get away with it any longer, but they're still going to do fine. And we're going to have a country that you can be proud of, not a laughing stock all over the world for many years. You know, in 1913, they traded to the income tax system. We used to be all tariff, and we had no income tax, so we had the wealthiest country we ever had proportionately. From about 1870 to 1913, it was all tariffs, and we had more money than anybody. They had committees how to spend the money. They had so much money they didn't know how to spend. Then some brilliant person said, let's go income tax. Let's let the people pay. Now, we're going to be able to substantially lower taxes when this is finished.
Kevin O'Leary of Shark Tank believes that the tariffs against China aren't strong enough. 33.
Do you think there has been a tarnishing of the brand that could be reversed, if at all?
No, it's strengthening the American brand. That's the whole point.
How?
We're the largest economy on earth. We're 39% of all goods consumed worldwide. We're 26.1% of world GDP. And if we don't fight against China's theft of IP, of not abiding by the World Trade Organization laws, all of the disputes going on forever, the theft of every mold of an American product, that is what the American brand is about. It's about democracy, transparency, and rule of law. And you want China to ride shotgun in every small American company that hits $5 million in sales? I'm telling you, every administration for 26 years has never addressed this problem till now.
China has been stealing our intellectual property as a cost of doing business in China. They often have to add people on your board of directors. You have to explain exactly how you're producing what you're producing. Eventually, they take over. And presidents have complained about this. This president has done something about it. And so many of our pharmaceutical components, medicines come from China. Components that go into our military, components that go into our cars, as I explain in my documentary, EVs, the good, the bad, and the ugly, which, by the way, is available on salemnow.com.
For full shows, live and on demand, it's Salem News Channel.